Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel Divya Singhi Social Lab. So class 10 students, we are going to start again today the chapter The Rise of Nationalism in Europe, but we are going to do part 2. So I hope you all have seen part 1, right? So we are going to start with the part 2 today. So let's start. I am sharing my screen now. I hope screen is visible to all of you, right? Let's start. So we are doing the rise of nationalism in Europe part 2. Now students, the first topic today which we are going to discuss is the Greek War of Independence. So students, now the Greece was under Ottoman Empire. Okay, and Turkey established control over Balkan state between the Adriatic and Black Sea. So students, when the idea of nationalism was spreading, so the Greek also wanted nationalism. So they revolted against the Ottoman Sultan's slavery. And students, the nationalists who were there in the Greece, right? They got support from the other Greeks who were living in exile, and also they got support from the Western Europeans. Okay, and they have very nicely mentioned in 1824 the English poet Lord Byron, he organized funds, okay, for the war, and he later went to fight in the war where he died of fever. Okay, and now students, in 1832 Greece granted full independence through Treaty of Constantinople. Okay, so that was the Greece War of Independence. So you should know the main takeouts are Greece was under Ottoman Empire, and who supported the Greek nationalists? The Greeks who were in exile, and they got even support from the Western Europeans. And finally, as per the Treaty of Constantinople, Greece was granted full independence. Now let's go to the next slide. Students, now we are going to understand about very important concept, romanticism. Students, sometime, even if we speak about India's national struggle, culture, art, poetry, they play actually a very crucial role so that the nationalist feeling can come among the people. Okay, students, sometimes culture, art, and poetry, it even unites people. So that time, student, this idea was spreading, that was called romanticism. So it was like a cultural movement that focused on emotion, intuitions, and feeling rather than reason and science. So student, it was a thought that if we use culture, if we use art, if we use poetry, that can actually create the sense of belonging and the feeling of nationalism among the people. Okay, so that was romanticism. Students, so that as it was doing, like here we have, or they have used vernacular language and local folklore, carried the nationalist message to largely illiterate masses. Okay, students, now here Johann Gottfried Herder, what he has done, he was a German philosopher who claimed true German culture lay with common people. That's what folk songs, poetry, and dances popularized during that time. Students, as I told, the same. That time, the focus was mostly on songs, poetries, in order to create the feeling of nationalism. Now, Karol Karpinski, he celebrated Poland's national struggle through operas and music. Okay, so students, that's how the feeling of nationalism was created through art, songs, poetry, dance, operas. So these were the sources used that time. Okay, to create feeling of nationalism. Now students, we are going to discuss two important topics, that is unification of Germany and unification of Italy. So let's discuss first unification of Germany. So students, if we speak about Germany, Prussia took on the movement for national unification, means Prussia took the leadership in their hands for national unification. Students, again repeating, we are studying here German unification. Who took the leadership in their hand for national unification? Prussia. So student, Prussia's chief minister was Otto von Bismarck, who played a very important role through diplomacy and war in order to gain the unification. So, students, if I speak about German unification, there were three wars over 7 years. Again, repeating, three wars over 7 years with Austria, Denmark, and France. Finally, Prussia won. Okay, so the war ended with Prussian victory, and finally the unification process completed. And in January 1871, Prussian King William I became the emperor in a ceremony held at Versailles. Okay, so I hope I'm clear, children, with the German unification. Now, Italy. Students, now if we speak about Italy's unification, Italy was divided into 7 states. Okay? And students, only Sardinia Piedmont was ruled by Italian house. Okay? And who was ruling Sardinia Piedmont? Victor Emmanuel II. Okay? Now, if I speak about the northern part of Italy, it was under the control of Austrian Habsburg. The central part was under the control of Pope, and the southern part was under the control of Bourbon kings of Spain. Now, students, I hope if you have seen my previous slide, that is Nationalism in Europe Part 1, if you have seen the previous video, you might be aware about Mazzini. Giuseppe Mazzini have spoken about, okay? So, students, a quick recap about him. He was under secret society of Carbonari, and after that he only established his own secret society, Young Italy, right? I hope you remember that. So from that Young Italy and from those secret societies, he was trying to unify Italy. Okay. Now, student, there was Chief Minister Kever. He was having a good diplomatic alliance with France. From that, he was able to gain control of the northern part of Italy, and he defeated the Austrian forces. Okay. And if I speak about Giuseppe Garibaldi, okay, what he has done, he actually led volunteers into South Italy and he won the support of the Spanish rulers, and that's how he was able to control the southern part of Italy. So that's how the whole Italy was unified. And in 1861, Victor Emmanuel II was proclaimed as the king of unified Italy. So that's about unification of Italy. I hope it's clear, students. Now, student, nationalism and imperialism. Students, now we are going to discuss very important thing. Here, I've already discussed in my previous video about what do you mean by nationalism, like the feeling of devotion towards country. What is imperialism? Now, this word came here is imperialism. Students, when one country tried to gain control over the other country, that is called imperialism. So here we are going to study about very important concept like the Balkan problem. Okay, so let's start it. Students, see, first of all, if I speak about the Balkans, so so the countries like Romania, Albania, Greece, etc., their inhabitants were known as Slavs. Okay, now students, the Ottoman rule. If I speak about the Eastern European Balkan state, they were ruled by the Ottoman Turks. Okay, so it was forming like a huge Ottoman empire. So that time, students, as you know, across the Europe, the nationalist feelings were spreading. So there also, the Balkan state also wanted independence. So the many of the states, they declared independence and they wanted freedom from imperialism. Okay, means nobody should control them. Okay, now student, there was a rivalry happening that time between the great European powers, especially Russia, Germany, England. So basically, they wanted the control over the Balkans because their trade, their military strength was at stake. So most of the Russia, Germany, England, they were trying to control over the Balkans because their trade, military was at the stake. So that's how student, the countries of Asia, Africa, and South America also, they were getting that we should also, like the ideas of nationalism were spreading there as well. So these inter-Balkan conflicts which were happening, student, the rivalries which were happening, that led to the series of war that ultimately triggered the World War One. Okay, I hope I'm clear to all the students. Is there any student who is having any doubt? I hope there is no doubt. So, students, I again want to thanks all of you. I hope everything is clear to all of you what we studied today. I told in the previous video also, and today also I'm telling, if you faced any doubt in any concept, students write in the comment section. I will once this chapter full will complete after part 3, we I will make one more video where I will just take those doubts which are written in the comment box. Okay? So till then, stay tuned and stay connected, and don't forget to subscribe my channel Divya Singhi Social Lab. Thank you, students.